Hello and welcome to episode 264 of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. I'm John Mansfield and I just spilt my coffee all over my desk. Welcome. I have no napkins, no towels to clean this up. That's why we wear shirts, right? There we go. All right, that was off camera, so you can't see the puddle of coffee that is still here. But welcome. It is still spooky month, so I am very excited. I hope you've been enjoying all of the cooler weather and the creepy, scary, fun movies that are all about this season. And also all things like, apples and pumpkins, cinnamon, nutmeg, pumpkin spice, and everything nice. Because of spooky season, I am still rocking different spooky kind of outfits. I have Jack Skellington with a Sally double exposure. As the good millennial that I am, I'm rocking Nightmare Before Christmas. But yeah, we're getting back into the money management series. Started this in episode 261, I believe, where I talked about how to manage your money when it comes to your bank accounts and separating your personal and business, and then how to separate your business so that it's easy for tax season, and how to set it up to where it's actually making you money with a high yield savings account. So go check out that if you have not listened to that yet. Today is going to be a semi-short one. I'm going to be going into the cost of doing business, figuring out what your cost is. I have a handy dandy little calculator that you can download for free on the website. It's in the show notes, as well as if you just go to allheartphoto.com/CODB, cost of doing business. I have to say cost of doing business in my head because I want to say COBD. So it is CODB, cost of doing business. And you get this free calculator, which I'm going to pull up now. We're going to walk through this together. Also, I haven't shared my screen before using this recording platform, so hopefully this turns out well for the video. If you're just listening to the audio, I'm still going to walk through everything. But if you're on Spotify or YouTube, hopefully you can see this whole thing. If not, I'm just going to put it up there as a photo and you can see. But this is the cost of doing business calculator. What is the cost of doing business? I should probably have gone into this before I made my window so small. But this is how you figure out the money that you need to run your business. Like, this is the literal cost of keeping the doors open. This is not like your profit. This is not extra money. This is just, what do I need to pay all the expenses? And then we can figure out what to add on top of that. So we're going to start, the way the calculator starts off is ask you how many weddings you want to do a year. This is built for wedding photographers. You can also do this with portrait sessions and just like kind of figure out how many you want to do in a year and then answer that question. Let's go with a nice round 25, which is not really that round. And then we're going to start with the fixed expenses. Now, the fixed expenses are expenses that will not change no matter how many sessions you book. So if you have like one wedding in a month, you're still going to be paying the same amount for these fixed expenses, versus if you have 10 weddings in a month, you're still going to be paying the same thing. It's fixed. It's the same every single month. That's it. So some examples of these are like your website hosting, and also some of these are you pay annually. I also have a little side calculator inside the calculator, very Inception like. The little side calculator is actually in a dream, so you have to be careful not to wake it up. But it calculates if you have annual payments. Like my website hosting, I pay annually. So I just pop that over here, and I think it's like $200. And then it'll calculate it, boom, for you, this little blue spot that is roughly $16.66667 a month. So then I can put that over here for my expenses. And I'm just going to go through this, and then I'll fill it out later. We don't have to do that on camera because that's just going to be a lot. So we have website hosting. These are examples of fixed expenses. Website hosting, your client gallery. So this is like PicTime, Pixieset, Shootproof, Cloud Sprout, all of those things. Editing software like Imagine AI, like Lightroom, like really anything that you use to edit your software. Microsoft's Paint, whatever you're using to edit. Please don't use Microsoft Paint anymore. We have moved on from that. Your CRM, your client relationship manager, your insurance, your memberships to things like, The Knot, Wedding Wire, local wedding associations, all of those kinds of memberships. Advertising budgets, throw that in there. If you have rent for your business, if you rent a studio, if you rent out a room in your house for tax reasons, put that in there. Whatever your utilities are, your phone, your internet, all of that, put those in there. Also, in this pricing calculator, you can change these things. So if you're like, I don't actually pay for my phone, but I do pay for DoorDash, you can change it to DoorDash and then have your $200 a month DoorDash deal. But yeah, once we put in all of our monthly expenses, and these are going to be monthly because it will multiply it by 12 inside the back end of this calculator, we're going to move on down to... I have like your tax brackets. These are based off I believe last time I updated this was like 2023 tax deal. So I know like things are changing in 2026, I believe. So I will update that. There will be a new one when that comes out. But these are like rough estimates. So if you're a solopreneur and you're making like 85,000, you're like at a 22%. And you just pop that over here into your tax rate box, and then it'll calculate it for you down here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I hope that you can. It looks like you can. If you can, I'm drawing a heart. And if you can't, I drew a heart. Next, we're going to get into variable expenses. So we have the fixed. These are not moving. These are staying here. They're the same no matter what. No matter how busy you are, no matter how loud the crickets are during the slow season, you're still paying the same thing every month or annually for those fixed expenses. Now the variables, they change per wedding, per photo shoot. So some examples that I have in the calculator are like if you give to different charities and stuff. I know like for myself, my photography business, we give a certain percentage of every single photo shoot to charities, to organizations and all that. So that's going to change. So if I have one wedding in June, then I'm going to be giving less than like 5 weddings in October. And then packaging materials. So this is, your boxes, your, those like, popping little, what are those called? Not air pockets. What, pop paper? No, that's not it. What are those things called? They're so much fun. And they're just little, pop. I don't think I have them around here. They make sure that your stuff doesn't get damaged. That kind of packing materials. Those are going to change. If you're sending out like welcome gifts, client gifts, stuff like that, you're going to obviously have more client gifts the more clients that you have that month. So packaging materials, shipping costs, outsourcing to different places. Like if you pay per photo to get your photos edited, that's obviously going to change with the higher volume of photos edited versus not so much. Travel, your fuel, your flights, hotels, rental cars, any of that kind of stuff, that travel, this is all, we're just kind of guesstimating here. If you have like a good CRM or like a QuickBooks or something, or a great CPA that you can just be like, hey, last year, what was my total that I spent on travel? And then again, you can go back up here to the calculator inside the calculator and put in, I spent $1,200 on travel last year, and divides it. That's $100. Obviously, that was okay. Another example of variable. Now I just have that song from Charlotte's Web in my head. The fair is a veritable smorgasbord. Orgasbord. Variable. I can speak, I promise. Back to the expenses that are going to change with the amount of work that you have coming in. Contract labor, if you're hiring second shooters, assistants, content creators, that's going to change per event. Welcome gifts, like I said, whatever you spend on your clients, throw that in there. Savings for equipment. I recommend that you put at least like 2 to 5% away for buying new equipment. It's always nice to have like the new lens or new camera body. Also just like upkeep, wear and tear, send your lenses out to get calibrated, all that kind of stuff goes into this little bit of savings. I also have a spot for savings for education and travel, because we always need to be continuing to grow and gaining more knowledge. Education is always fun, traveling to conferences and doing online workshops and all that. And then the travel, I try to do at least like one traveling photo shoot where it's kind of like out of my pocket, but it's portfolio building, or it's building relationships with vendors that I want to work with more, or it's just fun and just get to go travel and do something fun. So have a little bit of savings there. And then profit. I recommend at least 2 to 5%. You can do more profit than that. But like if you're charging, $5,000 for a wedding, this profit is going to be, 5% of that would be like $250. So it's not a lot, but it is some, and it will continue to grow. Like kind of, it's like that buffer money in your business for whenever things happen and you're like, oh man, I forgot about this, or I wish I had some extra savings for this. You want that little profit. And then this part of the calculator, if you're watching this, has it auto calculates your pay, your taxes, and your state taxes. If you live in a state that has state taxes, which I do, I'm in Texas, it is 8.25%, which you can see that over here on the right hand side. And this is editable. You can go in here and change that to 6.9 or whatever it is. This will auto calculate all of this, and then it'll show you what your, I'm pointing with my finger. I need to point with a cursor. What your, like the money that you make before taxes, the total number. It calculates your pre-tax income, what your taxes are going to be, what sales tax you'd have to pay, any business expenses, and then your personal income all into one. This is like the total number of everything that's going to be brought in for the business for the year, if you book 25 weddings. And then it'll divide that by 25 and give you this grand number of how much you need to pay to like baseline, just baseline get by. And you always want to go a little bit more than that. This one, did I skip over that? I did. Okay. So it auto calculates your pay here. There is a spot where you can put in how much income you want personally to take away from each wedding. And then you can throw that in there. If you're just like, I want to make $1,000 from every wedding, throw that in there. If you want to make $3,000 from every wedding, put that in there. And then this will calculate. I'm going to throw some numbers in here, and then I'll be back in just a minute. We can see what this looks like based on those numbers. So can we throw up some like hold music or something? Just some I don't know. We have everything filled out now. So I just put in some rough estimates of basically what I can remember that I pay for different things. And then I just put in, I want to make $1,500 from every wedding, because $1,500 for 25 weddings is like, I don't know, 40 grand or so. So if you're doing like, kind of like a side gig or whatever, that might be a really good spot for you. And then some different things here. So it auto calculated my pay, $1,500, auto calculated the taxes from everything, because this is the before tax, is the $74,000 is what it would take to run the business for the year, to do 25 weddings. Taxes is going to be $18,502 on top of that, and then sales tax is the $6,100. So all together, that's going to be for these 25 weddings, just under six figures, so like 98,000. So you should charge at least $3,944.66 per wedding. You want to obviously add a little bit on top of that, because there may be some unexpected expenses that pop up, and you don't want to have just the bare minimum of everything. So that's cost of doing business. That is figuring out what it costs for all of your fixed costs. There's obviously probably some more than this, but I tried to think of like, I created this shortly after tax season, so all this was fresh on my mind a few years ago. So put in all of your fixed expenses, put in all of your variable expenses that are changing per photo shoot, per wedding, and then it'll auto calculate everything out to you. And if you're like, you know what, I do want to be making more than that, like $3,900, that seems low. I should probably, let's say I want to make $2,000 from every wedding now. It changes everything. Now before taxes, your business is bringing in $86,000, after taxes $115,000, and then you should be charging around like $4,500-$4,600 for you to be bringing in $2,000 for yourself and be able to pay all of these other things. Or if you're like, okay, that sounds good, but like, what would it look like if I did 30 weddings? If I just did an extra 30 or an extra 5, it's going to calculate, because this is per wedding. It's already figuring all of this out. Now it's changing. Before taxes is 102, after is 135.9. So your per wedding, you should charge actually a little bit less, about $100 less, about $4,500. But you would be bringing in $135,000 after taxes and everything. So this is the calculator. If you want this, head on over to allheartphoto.com/CODB, cost of doing business, and you can get that. I'm going to stop sharing and bring me back full screen. This is the cost of doing business. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at wit.pod, WITT.pod. Definitely download this calculator, even if you've like done this on your own. It is always nice. I still do this every probably 6 months to a year, where I will just pull up the calculator and see okay, am I still charging what I need to? I'm going to plug in these new numbers because I now have different software and I'm using different editing and I'm doing these different things. And actually the last time that I did it, my cost of doing business went down because I had refined a lot of the software that I was using. And I don't need this 3 different things when I can just pay for one that does the 3 different things and save myself some money. So then my cost of doing business went down and I was making more profit. So it's always good to just kind of double check. As you can see, is pretty quick. I had maybe an extra 5 minutes that I sped through and cut out whenever I was plugging in those numbers. But yeah. So tune in next time for part 3 in the money management series, where we're going to be talking about your tax deduction categories, what you need to be keeping track of through the year, what would be really great to tell your bookkeeper to be looking at, and some different things that are some pretty common deductions for photographers, so that, we can take that $113,000 that your business is bringing in and the what was that? Almost $20,000 or over $20,000 that was going to taxes, and then hit it with some of these deductions so that you get to keep more of that money and deduct things from your taxes. But yeah, I'm going to have a bunch of different categories. I will also have another freebie that you can download that is just that list of all those categories that you can keep for your taxes. But have a great week. Keep creating and keep making the world a better place. I will see you in another 2 weeks for another episode of this series. Bye, y'all.